Thank you everyone for tuning in today. I'm here today with Destiny Rose coming from Fresno, California. She is a former calisthenics athlete, now coaches calisthenics and helps others throughout her time in Fresno. Thank you, Destiny, for joining us today on the neighborhood.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, you compete in calisthenics for a fair amount of time. I want to say 5 years, correct me if I'm wrong, or four.
Probably, yeah, right about there.
Okay. What got you into it overall? Was it sports when you were younger, or was this something more recent in your time?
Well, growing up, my sister was a gymnast growing up, so I kind of lived in the gym life. But I never did gymnastics. I knew how to do like round offs and cartwheels and stuff like that. And then in my older life, I got into competitive cheerleading, which is where I learned a lot more of like my flips and like just like the basics of just like how to move your body and stuff like that. And then obviously you age out of that at like 18. And I had a few years there where I was just not doing anything. And I really just like didn't feel like fulfilled in my life. And I just felt like I was really missing something that was just like, that drive and that discipline and those things that really just bring me tons of joy. And so I went back to an old gymnastics gym that I had worked at briefly in my younger ages. And I saw a group of guys, and it was actually Mark and Just Jake Calisthenics and Bobby and that group of guys that were from Fresno, and they were on the bars and they were just doing all this crazy stuff. And I was like, oh, that looks like so much fun. That looks super cool. And so I spoke to them about it, and they were telling me, because this was 2018, like really early 2018, and they were telling me how there were just no girls in the sport, and how if you wanted to start now, like it's a really good time to start because it's kind of picking up speed a little bit. And I was like, I mean, this stuff looks like fun. I can do that. And so I actually went to the Venice Beach Jam that year, in 2018, and it just opened my eyes. It blew my mind. I had so much fun. I saw what the girls were doing, and I saw that it was just like not without of out of the realm of my capabilities. So I got really excited and I just jumped on it, and I became obsessed like that day.
Oh, okay. The, I didn't know that about that makes more sense, the comfortability in the gymnastics arena. Was there something from when you were younger that attracted you to it because of its out of the box ways of doing things compared to
Yes.
calisthenics? What was it?
Yes. So with gymnastics, like I don't know. I have a lot of respect for the sport, and I think it's great, and I think all of those things, but calisthenics just offers so much freedom, and you're really able to let your mind do a lot of the work and like choose what it is that you really want to focus on. Like if you're really good at something, and you feel like that's your strong suit, I really love that calisthenics gives you that freedom to just do what it is that you want. And you don't have to have perfectly pointed toes, and you don't have to meet this criteria of this standard that they look for. And I think that's really great and offers just like a big opening to a side of the world that gymnastics just doesn't touch. So
That's a very good point. I notice a guitar in the background right there with the peace sign. Are you musically inclined, perhaps? Is there
yes,
instruments you played when you were younger?
I love music. I've always been a big music person. Music was honestly probably one of my first loves. I play the piano, the guitar, the ukulele. I used to sing a lot when I was younger. So yeah, we love music.
When you were freestyling, when you were competing, did you feel your music background had sort of a what's the word I'm looking for? It helped out and you didn't realize it because of the beat you would have to stay on for the particular
Yes,
song
actually,
or something you wanted to move with.
yes, honestly, when I first started calisthenics, I do feel like as I've progressed, it has become more about like pushing my physical boundaries and like what I can do. But when I first started, I was obsessed with syncing moves to the music. Like that was like a really big part of why I enjoyed it. And then like also the freedom there, because I don't know if you know, in gymnastics, you can only have music that has no words, nothing like that, and it has to be very specific and stuff like that. So I thought it was super cool that in calisthenics you can play whatever music you want. You can time your trick to a really cool spot in the song and like make it flow really well together. So yes, I really really enjoy that.
What kind of music did you listen to that no one else was listening to when it came to the calisthenics training? Like just by yourself, like something that you're like, no one's here. Let me put this on for myself.
As weird
Genre
as it
or artist?
sounds, I know I'm probably lame for saying this, but 21 Pilots is so good to train to. We love that.
I'm not kidding. I wasn't expecting that answer.
We love it. It's
What?
so good.
Which 21 Pilot song?
Um, okay, there's a lot. There's a lot. I like Heavy Dirty Soul. I like Johnny Boy. That's like a really like, I don't know, something about that beat really makes me want to do stuff. So
Okay. Well, no, it's surprising just because for the past year, like past couple years when it's came to calisthenics, it's always been like extreme EDM, very much like before it was like hip hop, rap, and then it just got faster, and then they were like, let's throw EDM in there, and
yeah.
now it's just mainly that, which is great. But I'm like, I occasionally now for myself, I'll listen to a podcast or I will train with like very much poetic rap with it, where
Okay.
I'm the only one listening to it. I'll have a few friends train with me, listen to it, but I can't blast it in speakers just because
It's
I
not
don't know.
everybody's cup of tea.
I don't want people to think I'm going through something when rowdy. I'm just like, no, just like to play it in the background. Sounds nice. Other than 21 Pilots, is there any other band or artist that you'll just throw on just because like sounds great to listen to while working out?
Honestly, I would go like more genre and I do a lot of like punk and like punk rock and like the old school like emo music. That's like my vibe.
If you're trying, I've shared it a lot with people, but if you're trying to get more into punk but mix it with a little bit of country, there's a band called Dexter and the Moon Rocks.
Dexter and
Like,
Moon Rocks.
Dexter and the Moon Rocks.
Okay,
It's
okay,
like
I'll look it up.
it's like grungy punk country.
Okay. I
Not
definitely
too
was a
bad.
country fan growing up, so I could be into it.
Perfect. What bands were you most like going to overall when it came to it? Like
When it
the
came
like
to training,
emo punk. Yeah. Either train or like music you knew like was I'm sorry. What music was it that you had for training and what music did you separate that wasn't for training?
see, my music taste is so eclectic. I am all over the place. I listen to the Beatles a lot. I'm a huge Beatles fan. Um, I also like to listen to some sad music sometimes, sad girl vibes. We listen to that, but not when we train.
That's a good call.
um, yeah. Uh, Honestly, I'm all over the place and I love all music. I tell people this all the time. Like, there's really not music that I don't like unless it's like too intense. Sometimes that exists, but um, I really do listen to a lot of music all over the place.
Okay. Are you a train in person? I'm sorry, train at the home person, or you go to a gym drive, go to a gym still? I see rings behind you, so are
Yes.
we mixing both?
I would say I do a mix of both. I think this goes for a lot of people, and I've noticed this too, that when you live around a community of people, you're more inclined to do freestyle because freestyle is like a sport that really does take a lot of like hype and like almost a little bit of pressure, I feel like, to continue in the sport and like really push those boundaries. So freestyle and stuff like that, I definitely have to be around a group of people. Like if I'm by myself, I am so unmotivated to do freestyle. But
Hmm.
statics, on the other hand, yes, I train statics at home. I love statics. I think I train them better by myself when I'm able to like put my headphones in them and I'm in that mode to just like train. So it's definitely a bit of an ebb and flow.
For those wondering what statics are, it's all just holds, whether it be a front lever or as simple to put it like an L sit. Some people would see. Are you someone that prefers to train statics with bands or just the simple progressions for them?
I mean, I definitely do still do the basics, but I really do enjoy bands. Bands are like one of my favorite ways to train. I like to do all the crazy things like planche and Maltese and Hephaestos and stuff like that. I really do like to train those skills, and I'm doing them in bands right now. So yes.
Hell yeah. If there's one piece of equipment for calisthenics you were to only have one of, what would it be?
Uh, I'd probably pick my parallettes.
Okay. Are they custom or do you buy these ones from
Yes, they
store?
are
What's
custom.
if you have
Right.
them right there, it's perfect. Oh, those are sick.
These are
Are
from
those
Plyo
from,
Project. Shout out to Plyo Project. He's the best. We love him.
can you bring them up again one more time?
Yes.
Do you have something? Oh, that is sick.
Yeah, I love these. They're so great.
Nice. What would you say was simple, like when it, who was your inspiration? I know it's a very broad question, but like,
It's interesting because when I started calisthenics, there really weren't that many girls. I feel like I started in the era that all the girls started calisthenics. I actually competed at the very first girls Battle of the Bars. It was Battle of the Bars 33, and that was the first time that they had brought girls to Battle of the Bars. And I got to compete at that, and I met Aramis there. And I remember that that was like really amazing for me because she was one of the best at the time, even still. Um, and she was a really big inspiration for me and still is to this day. So shout out to Aramis. We love her.
right. Now there is something that did happen. I know you got injured. Correct me if I'm wrong. You tore a ligament
Yes,
in
so
your leg.
actually at the Battle of the Bars 33, I've done cherry drops since I was a kid, like since I was like 6 years old. I've been doing cherry drops on the playground at school. But this one time I just dismounted during the performance and I actually tore my ACL and my meniscus. Um, and I had an MCL like fourth degree strain that was almost a tear. So I basically had like a full knee reconstruction surgery. I even took from my patellar tendon to create my ACL. So I had a pretty extensive knee surgery and I was out for about a year from like anything legs.
I remember seeing that, and when you landed, you kept walking. And I was like, and everyone just like, oh, she just landed a little funky, and then you can see on your face like something was wrong. What was your overall yearly recovery process? Obviously, it's not just physical, but mentally, it's emotionally draining to know you were like, I was walking and running yesterday. Now I'm just not doing a thing. What was that
Mm-hmm.
progress like 6 months after and then to now?
Yeah. So it's weird because like when it first happened, I was kind of in this weird state of like, I was also like, I was starstruck from what I was doing as well, that like I don't think it fully hit what I had done. Even when I found out I tore my ACL, like I feel like I was still like kind of in denial of how serious it was. So I was just like la di da di da, like I'll be totally fine. Like that's really how I felt at first. Um, and it was after my surgery that it really like set in for me what I had done and how like serious a knee injury is. And yeah, I would say that the mental side of it was honestly like the hardest part. It was very difficult. Like when you don't have a knee, like you lose access to so many things. I couldn't work. I was full coaching at the time. I was full-time coaching. And I just had to completely step back from that, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't jump, I couldn't run, I couldn't do any of those things. And a lot of people who know me know that I am a squirrel. I am just like bouncing around, I'm jumping around, I have a lot of energy. So this was like really hard for me. It was really difficult. And it definitely was one of the hardest times of my life. I would say that like 3 months to about like almost like I would say 7 months into my recovery, honestly. It was really, really difficult. Um, and then when you slowly start, regaining your strength and feeling comfortable on your leg again, I can confidently say now that I'm doing more than I was before my ACL tear. I am you know, I'm just as happy. I definitely noticed that I've had knee surgery. I feel like anybody who's had knee surgery will tell you that like it follows you for the rest of your life and that does not go away. But you can build up the strength and you can come back better than you were, which is something I was really determined to do. And I would say I've accomplished that goal. And you know, everything happens for a reason. I truly am a firm believer of that, and I wouldn't change the course of what has happened to me, but it definitely was a trip.
What was your recovery like? So you're at home, obviously you have now 2019, this time before 2020, but were there movies or TV shows that you saw or watched that you're just like, this is my comfort? What were the things that you were like, I'm gonna watch this or binge watch this? What was your favorite thing to binge watch?
Um, Weirdly enough, I had never seen Friends, and that was something that I had felt like I'm not much of a TV movie watcher, anyways. So I actually
Hmm.
did take that time to watch all of Friends. So I have now seen all of Friends, and I also played a lot of The Sims. I was a
Oh,
big
really?
Sims fan. Yeah, I love The Sims. So I played a lot of Sims, and I did a lot of pull-ups. I did a lot of I did a lot of arm stuff too, and
Oh,
that also like really helped. Had I not been able to do like, I got really great at muscle ups during my recovery because all I had were my arms. And I'm still trying to achieve my muscle up greatness now that I had when I was at my most injured, because I was just so focused on muscle ups that they actually turned out super helpful.
that answered my next question of what was something that you got out of it? Because there's always some type of skill or something that everyone works on during recovery from an injury.
Yeah.
Now, do you, when it comes to your knee, is there certain things you just won't do anymore, obviously, or are there still things that you're like, I'll play around with it, but you won't go to the extreme?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I have just come to the conclusion that I will probably never do twists again. I
Hmm.
really don't feel comfortable landing a skill, whether it be off of the bar or on the floor, where I'm completely twisting out of the skill. So, like a full or like a flyaway full. I'll probably just stay away from things like that just because yeah, that twisting motion while you land is really scary to me, but just about everything else I'm pretty comfortable doing. I'm still doing flips on the floor. Like I can still do back tucks. Um, we made it happen.
Good. Now you coach now. How does it feel to coach now with all the experience you've had and you meet people that are trying to achieve certain athletic achievements? How do you prepare people mentally, or what do you say to prepare people mentally for them because of what you've experienced to
Yeah.
share?
So I right now primarily work with children. And so I do feel like the mental drive there is a little bit different. So with the kids particularly, I just love to tell my kids like, you are so strong and you are so capable and you are as capable as you allow yourself to be. So if you tell yourself you're never going to do that skill, you're probably never going to do it. But if you can tell your brain that like you are capable of doing that and you can achieve it, um, I do often tell my students how I have been injured and you can come back from those things, and that calisthenics is a sport that is very difficult, but that if you can manage it, that it will follow you for the rest of your life and it will benefit you for the rest of your life. And I really do try to instill that in my children, that movement is so important. Like it really is. I really do feel like movement just like improves your quality of life so much, and people underestimate that. So that's something that I really do try to like leave my kids with, if anything.
That's inspiring. Thank you.
Hey.
What is something we're about to finish up? What is something though you want to tell people that you wouldn't expect to share out loud now? I'm sorry, out loud years ago, but now feel comfortable sharing when it comes to overall, like this to get people going at the end of the day. What's something you want to share with them?
I feel like for the most part, for anybody who's like trying to get started, like it can be really intimidating. But all I can say is just like try to fall in love with something that like really hits home for you, because like I know for me, like I would have never felt comfortable calling myself an athlete, or even like using the term like, oh, I'm going to train. Like those feel like things that were like too unattainable to me, back when I was just starting off. But like you realize that the more you start doing things and just fall in love with what it is that you're doing, that those things just kind of come to you. And you should just push yourself to the things that you know that you can do, and not worry about what anybody else is thinking or what you might be able to achieve, because the boundaries and the limits are endless. They really are.
Well, we're gonna finish up on that. Thank you, Destiny Rose. Thank you, everyone that checked in today with the neighborhood, and have a great one.
Thank you.
Yeah, there it is.